So lovely to see you today, Stephen. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, Barbara.
So you're currently playing Dr. Frank-N-Furter in the Rocky Horror Show that's on its 50th anniversary tour. What would you say to someone who's never seen the show before, if they
Oh,
exist?
well, for starters, it's a wacky, sexy, funny show that you've never seen before. It's a proper immersive experience, but it's based loosely on horror movies, B movies, and science fiction. And it's about two young naive characters that get get lost in the middle of nowhere, and they end up coming across this castle, and they end up trying to seek refuge, and they get introduced by this eccentric um, doctor called Dr. Frank-N-Furter, and he's creating his sexual creature. So, he's not like a monster. His creature is blonde hair, blue eyes, and a tan. He's creating the perfect man. And then it's a little bit like an Adam and Eve story. That they come in very, not very worldly wise, and they come out of the castle completely different people, and a little bit more sexually liberated, I suppose. And but it's one of them shows that if you've never seen it before, it allows the audience to be part of our show. There is a script, and people are allowed to shout out
Mhm.
at certain times and everything. And it's just real funny. And they have the best lines, the crowd. Like, I'd love to tell you some, but I'll get told off because they're quite rude. But if you've never seen it, but if you've never seen it before, come with an open mind, because I guarantee it won't be your last time you'll see it.
Well, I can attest to that. I was just saying to you before I pressed record there, I'm coming round for round two and showing no signs of stopping, Stephen. It was so raucous last time. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Um,
Oh,
so
good.
I think audiences, once they get a taste of Dr. Frank-N-Furter, they will be coming back for more. But I imagine it's quite a difficult role to approach, given how iconic Tim Curry's
Oh,
portrayal is. How do you even go about
yeah.
that as an actor? Put your own spin on it.
Well, well, this was the thing, is putting my own spin on it. So when I originally did this production in 2018, and I was quite nervous. I never put makeup and heels on, and literally everything is on show, But my agent took me out for dinner, and not my agent, my director took me out for dinner and said, "Look, we want you to do your own version. If you start doing a Tim Curry impersonation, people are just going to compare you. So, and people will appreciate you doing something different." So, I did. I approached it in a different way. Don't get me wrong. I do nods to Tim. Tim is so iconic to this role and to this piece that you can't not. However, I'm still here, in the third year of doing it, and people seem to love what I do. So, and actually going into its 50th year is amazing, and it's been a huge part of my life. But yeah, don't get me wrong. It completely put me out of my comfort zone, but now I can't seem to get out of it. I absolutely love it.
Once you're in the comfort zone, you're there for life, Stephen.
This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
I've got. I'll tell you one thing. I've got huge respect to everyone that wears heels, because they hurt. They really do.
And the things that you have to do in them as well, Stephen, like dance numbers and goodness
Yeah,
me. It's full
yeah.
on, I imagine.
It is. I'm up and down. I'm dancing across the stage, but yeah, I've seemed to got quite natural with the heels now. That it doesn't seem to bother me. Uh, but yeah, I think. Do you know what it is? I don't come on till like 20 minutes into the show, and I wear a cape. So when my first entrance is, before I start singing "Sweet Transvestite," I walk down the stage, and then I reveal it, and I reveal everything that I've got underneath. And there's not there's not anything like it, because people are screaming and shouting for you, and it's that moment that if I was a rock star, this is how I think it would feel like. And I get that every night. You know, I feel like David Bowie, you know, Mick Jagger type of thing, because
Mm.
it's all set round, the songs are very, you know, glam rock and roll numbers. And, you know, at the end of the show, you know, everyone up on their feet doing the time warp, you know, and it's one of them songs that is still a massive pull to everyone. And yeah, seeing that every night, I say to our cast, and when people come up going, "How do you do it?" You know, how? And I said, "Well, I'm spoiled, really. I'm spoiled with you guys, really. You know, because you know I've been in this game for over 20 years, and there's not another show like it, and there really isn't. There really isn't another show that's that immersive, and I think the reason that people keep coming back is that if you come on a Monday, it's a completely different show the next day. And that's not just because of what we're doing on stage, but it's also what the crowd throw at us, you know, not literally, but like
Or
the
maybe
abuse that they
sometimes.
show us. Yeah. So I think for an audience member, for them 2 hours, that's a memory of theirs that they'll remember. And then they go, "Oh, I remember when I first saw that, this happened." And then the next time they go it, then something else will be completely different. And you know, people think, "Oh, is it a bit crude?" Or I say, "No, it's very much tongue in cheek." And um, as well, I think a lot of people that don't realize it's extremely funny, and
Mm.
people have a real good time. And as I always say to everyone, as soon as you've come to see the Rocky Horror Show, you're part of the family, and it won't be the last time you'll see it.
Oh my gosh. I as I say, I can attest to that myself. And it's really amazing to see the audience is so invested. Like oftentimes we're just, we're watching a show, and you'll clap at the end and that, but
Yeah.
it really does get you involved. Is there like a moment of audience improv or interaction that stands out for you? Or is it all just kind of this
Um,
melee of craziness
well,
and wonderfulness?
Well, I think as soon as I come out, and literally people are sometimes singing along to Time Warp, or they're singing along to Sweet Transvestite, and then actually finishing the number, and you just get this roar. And literally, there's a point where, especially if you've got 2,000 or 2,500 people screaming, it's a little bit of a hit me moment, because it really does throw you back. And uh, for me, there are a few moments in the show that are highlights to me. One is the floor show. I absolutely love the floor show. I think it's such a cracking number. There is a few shout outs that I'd love to say that I absolutely love, but I won't say them because I'll be told off because they're rude. But I'm allowed to interact with them in me, and also Philip Franks, who plays the narrator. We are allowed to acknowledge the crowd. And I think for them, it feels like they are part of our show. And that's what I love as well. I feel connected with the crowd when they're with us on that journey. And, you know, let's be honest, Frank-N-Furter, you know, if you met him in real life, uh, he's a psychopath. You know, if you know, spoiler alert, he kills people. You know, and also, you know, but at the same time, you love him. You know,
Mm.
he's one of these anti-heroes. You know, and there's so much in it in terms of for me, the play him is not just it's all tits and teeth and it's camp and everything. There's actually a lot more layers to Frank, and I try and portray that, you know, with playing Frank, and you know, at the end of the show, I sing a song called "I'm Going Home," and it's for me, it's a bit more of a um taking the makeup off, and actually seeing the man behind the mask, and because we all get vulnerable and we all get insecure, and for me that's a point of showing a different side of him, of vulnerability, you know. And you see people crying, you know, people getting really moved and upset by it, you know, and that's a real honor, to actually be able to, people spend their hard-earned money to come see something, and they're moved by not just being funny and having a party, but they're actually crying, and they actually feel really part of it, and that's really great to be part of, and it means that I'm doing my job properly.
Do you find that people are really surprised by that? That it can be so wild and yet so moving by the end of it, like juggling all those tones. It must be kind of a
Yeah,
bit of a
like,
tightrope act.
yeah, but it goes on a complete 360. You know, it's all wacky and it's mad and crazy, and then all of a sudden it goes very melodramatic and very operatic at one point. You know, and at the end you think, oh my God, what's just happened? You know, it takes you on a huge roller
Yeah.
coaster of a journey, you know, and you feel sorry for these characters and you're invested in them. And I think people come, you know, people dress up in their favorite characters. And I think that the reason that they dress up in, you know, either Frank or they dress up as, you know, Columbia or Magenta or Riffraff is, you know, sometimes they just want to dress up them, but sometimes they, oh, I see myself as that person, you know, and you know, it's great to be able to be part of a show that has been running for 50 years, and you've got people that have been watching it ever since that time, and still we're having a new crowd that are coming in, and it's bringing a new lease of life to the show, and it's to actually say a show that's been going for 50 years and is current today than ever. You know, it's about embracing yourself and loving yourself and not caring what people think of you and just being whoever you want to be. I think that is that is a real anthem that we play. You know, like I sing "Don't Dream It, Be It." You know, that's an anthem that I keep repeating in
Mhm.
one number, and you know, give yourself over to absolute pleasure. You know, and I think that really rings true to people when sometimes they feel like they don't know where they fit into society. But in 2 hours, they feel like they're in a safe space, and and I get people afterwards coming to see me and saying, look, you know, it's the first time I've seen it, it's not the last time, and it actually makes me feel I'm part of a community when I come to see it.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
what theatre shows, what anything can make you feel like that, and
yeah,
to give you that and entertainment and to make you laugh and to make you feel part of it. I mean, that maybe that's the secret sauce that's kept it going for 50 years and counting. I'm sure it won't be the last
yeah.
anniversary we celebrate.
Yeah, like you know, well, what Richard O'Brien has created is it was ahead of his time, you know, and also, you know, the songs that are in it that you know that they're still current today. You know, Time Walk, Sweet Transvestite, you know, The Floor Show, Damn It, Janet. Everyone knows them, and everyone's always shouting out at them, and also us, you know, a lot of the cast have been in it for this will be going into the second year. You know, this will be my third year of doing it, but a couple other cast members have been doing it on and off for 10 years. It's because we don't get bored of it. It's one of them shows that doesn't come around that often, and when you get the chance to audition for it and be part of it, you grab it by both hands, you know, um and I think that shows with our cast particularly that they want to entertain people, you know, and they realize that people have also got not an awful lot of money, and it costs an awful lot for people to come and see a show. So it's, you know, a lot of people will spend their money on something that they know. So and you know, to be out there and I see before I come out, I've got a little crack in the doors before I come out and expose myself. Um, they're all up on their feet, laughing and giggling, and you think, "Wow, this is why we do it. This is why we do it." You know, and we're proper spoiled doing it as well. So it's brilliant.
Is that your favorite moment in the show? Is that favorite song to perform? Maybe that opening number, or do they all give you
Oh
a different
yeah,
flavor?
it's what I think for me personally. You know, I'm biased, you know, but I think it's one of the best
Yeah.
openings of a lead, you know, a lead coming out and singing, you know, because you don't, people are waiting for Frank to come out. People are
Mhm.
waiting, and there's a big old vamp before he comes out, and then they open the doors, and there's him, you know, blinded by like lights behind him, and then they're waiting for him to see what's underneath his cloak and everything, and he rips it off, and then everyone's screaming for the character, and then um and yeah, it's what, and then what makes me laugh is I sing, and then I go off stage. I don't stay on stage. I go right,
Wow.
bye, see you later. You know, and people are literally crying for it. You know, and you just think, oh yeah, I'll do one number, and then I'll go off again. You know, so it's funny,
Sometimes you only
but
need the one, you know. You got out, you got there, you got out. You
that's it. Yeah,
brought the
one hit
house
wonder me.
down.
Yeah, 5 minutes. That's all you need. You know.
I mean, he is a creature of anticipation, oh Frank, isn't he? You know,
He is. He
you
is.
got to wait to see him, and then you got to wait to see him again. You know, he doesn't sort
Yeah.
of give away that. You have to work for. You have to work. You know, to get an audience with Frank, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You know, it, I see. Okay, if we're going into it, you know, we're not taking ourselves seriously. You know, don't get me wrong, we're taking seriously in trying to, but you know, do the show, but we're enjoying the show whilst we're doing it. And but like, you know, I see Frank as like a pansexual man. You know that he's seen Brad and Janet as like a Barbie and Ken doll, and he's like, oh, what can I do with these two? You know, uh, and um, and then obviously I don't want to give away the storyline too much, but he makes his creature, he's perfect human, he's perfect man, and uh, his man's not interested in him, he's interested in Janet, so he gets jealous, you know, and
Mm.
then he throws his toys out the pram, and but yeah, you know, we're here to have a real good time, and and it's and it's one of them jobs that's like I never go on stage and feel like well, let's just say if I've ever in a bad mood and I come on that stage, it's gone within 5 minutes. It really is, and I think that's with a lot of the audience that come. If you've had a stressful day and you've come to see something, you are completely taken away from that, and you're there to have a real good time. And I know that people have come to me afterwards. I've never seen the show before, and I've gone, we didn't know what was going on. You know, we didn't know that everyone is allowed to shout out. But I said it's not going to be the last time we're coming to see it. And then about a few weeks later, they're all dressed up. They all know some of the lines.
They got their fishnets on and their gold,
Yeah,
you know,
you
bowler
know,
hats, top hats.
yeah, you know, you know, I've been in, you know, I've been in shows and you meet fans, but I've never had a community of people that have come to see the show. I've met so many genuine, lovely people, and that's what I'll miss. I think when I come out of it, it is the community for it, and you know, if it's funny, as soon as everyone knows when the Rocky Horror Show is in town anyway, because you know, at least half the crowd are dressed up and everyone's going, "What the hell's good?" But you go into a pub or you go into, no one bats an eyelid, and everyone just gets on with each other. And everyone's talking to each other, lets their inhibitions down, and has a good time. And when we go to Cardiff, like they're raring for it. They're proper up for it, you know. And I think they've got to be one of the loudest. There's about five I think that I can count,
Really?
and I think they're up. They're up there for being one of the most hilarious. I think, yeah, yeah. Actually, in Swansea surprised me as well when we went to Swansea as well. But yeah, they're definitely maybe the top three, maybe the one of the top three, you know. But
Wow, well, that's
brilliant.
quite prestigious. That's quite a prestigious honor
Yeah,
to hold, of being some of the rowdiest Rocky Horror audiences, I'm sure. So you feel
yeah.
that it, like you get like a different response, not only on like the different days that you perform, but where you perform it.
Oh, 100%, 100%, and it is. You know, if you're the further you go up north, or it gets a lot more. It gets a lot more louder, and but you know, it come more to a civilized crowd. You know, that's absolutely fine. We played the show that we're there to play, but like we do get, you know, especially on the weekend, you know, it gets like a proper, especially when they've had a couple of jars. Because bear in mind, we don't do we on the weekends we don't do a proper matinee, don't do a 2:30, we do a 5 or 5:30 matinee, so it's early evening, and then we do an
Mhm.
8:30 show because it's kind of set the mood for it. But yeah, I suppose my when it comes to the late one, I get a little bit more I suppose a little bit not Laria, but a little bit more tongue in cheek with them. Do you know what I mean? But again, it changed. If the crowd are on your side, it changes your performance in terms of, you know, if you've got them in the palm
Mhm.
of your hand, you know, it you feel on top of the world, you know. And again, I already said this, you know, we don't tend to get a rubbish crowd at all. You know, it just seems to be one of them shows that people are there to have a good time. And uh, yeah, I think going back into a different job, I'll be like that. Why ain't no one screaming for me? Why ain't no one shouting at me? Do you know what I mean? Because I must admit, a lot of people do ask, go, how do you keep your composure? How can you concentrate? But you know, all during rehearsals, we were trained. We had people shouting the general shout outs at us, so we
Oh
knew
wow.
that when they were coming. I don't get me wrong, there are a couple that we haven't heard before, which might be funny, which do catch me out now and again. But there is a script, and there is, that you can't just shout out any old rubbish.
Mm.
You have to, it has to be witty, and funny. Um, but there is definitely a script, and I think you can find it online. Or
Yeah.
if you just come to see the show, some people go, oh, I like that one, so they'll keep that one, and
Yeah.
they know when to say it. So yeah, it's great.
Oh, I bet like on a show like this, it's really hard to keep, even though you've got like that training, so people are shouting out, you're keeping going. Is there someone in the cast it's really hard to keep a straight face with?
Um,
I've got a
do you know
guess.
what? Do you know? Do you know what? I think because on a weekend, because bear in mind, people forget that we've been performing all week, and then towards the weekend we start getting a little bit tired, a little bit delirious. So there are points sometimes that, you know, um, in terms of people that make me corpse, normally it's me that's corpsing. I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible. If I find something funny, Richard Meek is a one that likes to plays our Brad. He's one that try and catch me out. Or our Eddie, Dr. Scott. He's another one that's
Mm.
cheeky. Joe
Dr.
Allen.
Bon Scott.
Yeah. But uh the thing is, I look at myself now and again going, what are we doing? Look around the
Yeah,
stage
yeah.
and go, if I went into, like, if people ask what I did for a living, I don't think they would believe me. I just think it's brilliant.
Fantastical. Oh, it's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I bet it's a joy, and I bet there are some moments where it's like so hard to just, keep going. You just become one of the audience. Um, is there a
Yeah.
favorite scene that you like to watch your cast members do that you're sort of glad that you don't have to worry about corpsing?
Yes. Well, it's not actually a scene. It's actually a number. It's the floor show. I'm not in the floor show, but I don't come on until afterwards. But I just love the number. I love I love the orchestration of it. It's proper, like, dirty, like, guitar riff and everything, and it builds. Like, it starts up, and they all start screaming, and you hear the crowd getting more and more, like, I don't know if I can say this, but, like, turned on by it. Do you know what I mean? It gets more and more raunchier and raunchier,
Yeah, yeah.
and then so that's one of my favorite moments in the show, and also is the ending of the show. A brilliant actress called Susie. She plays Magenta, and she opens the show as an usherette, and she closes the show as the usherette. But it's much more. She's singing the same song, but it's sung a little bit more softly and a bit more can't a bit sad. That it's finishing. And that's another moment. It changes for me, I'm afraid. Like, it
It's great.
there'll be moments that I love, I go, oh, I love that, and then I go, oh, no, I'm a bit bored of that. I like this bit now. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and I think that's why I still do it, because I don't get bored. And I'm always learning from playing the part, and you grow with it. So yeah, it's not all just tits and teeth.
But there's nothing wrong with that. You need a bit of that in
No,
theatre,
you do. Well, especially
You
with
need
this
it
show, you
all.
definitely need some tits and teeth. Yeah.
Is there another role on the cast list that you would play, or is it just you're not letting go of Frank?
Oh, I thought about this, and so I used to say Brad. I used to say Brad, but I think that's just a bit of a cop out, really. Do you know the other one I'd like to play is Eddie? Just he
Oh
only comes
yeah.
on, he plays on, sings that rock and roll number, gets chopped up, and then that's it. That's your lot, Bob's your uncle. Yeah. but but
Yeah.
yeah, it'll either be Eddie because I love the song and it's a proper rock and roll number. Or I say Brad because I'd love to do the floor show because it's the first
Mm.
time that you're seeing them embracing their, Brad and Janet and Rocky and Columbia. They're now taken hold by Frank-N-Furter's spell, so they're all sexually liberated now, and I'd love to see the contrast, the difference between them two. So yeah, them two.
That would be an interesting one to swap between Frank and Brad in a run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but again, I suppose because I've played roles like that before, the very like hero and the type of so you know this role has kind of really put me out of my comfort zone when I first did it, and it really stretched me as an actor. Even just not just playing it, but also like wearing what I'm wearing and putting on makeup. I never really put makeup on before, and even wearing a wig, But what I love about it now, when I'm putting my makeup on during the half-hour call, I find it quite calming, and I look forward to doing it because I'm slowly coming into my alter ego. I do have kind of an alter ego whilst I do it. It's like it changes you as a person. That's why when people come and see me after the show, and they don't recognize me because I'm 6'2", big hair and everything, and they go, who was you in the show? I said, oh, I was Frank, and they go, you weren't. I went, yeah. They went, we had better legs than you, and I went, still me, but never mind. Yeah. So
That's the
yeah,
heels, mate. That's the heels.
it is the
Push over the
heels.
leg.
Yeah.
Oh wow. To have that kind of, dichotomy with a role where they don't even recognize you. What a testament to your acting
Yeah.
ability, Stephen, is all I
Well,
can say.
yeah. Yeah, like I must admit, there are people that obviously have come to see it multiple times and they know who I am. But I suppose it 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 it, it is nice, that sometimes you don't get noticed because obviously I look completely different on stage. Even though I'm putting on makeup, I try and contour my face, so I do. I do look a bit different, and of course I look taller and I look bigger on stage. Then when I come out, I look smaller and not as tall. So
A different kind
uh
of tool, surely.
yeah, but also everyone thinks I'm gonna be this larger than life character when I come outside stage door, and it's not me. I'm not shy, but I'm a bit more of an introvert. And it went afterwards. I'm quite, I won't hang around stage door and go on, I'll sign your thing. If you come up to me personally, I will. It's not me being rude. It's just I'm not big headed in that way, and I always treat every show that it's always my last. I've always had this motto in it, you're only as good as your last job. So I always treat it that I'm in a very lucky to be doing what I'm doing and still doing it. I'm nearly 40 this year, and still doing it over 20 years. It's amazing.
Wow. I really think that, everyone who's going to attend the Cardiff shows and who attends any show on this 50th anniversary tour is just going to lap it up. They're going to love it. And you're going to see them multiple times, Stephen. And
Oh,
I
I
think,
can't wait.
yeah, well, there we go. It's one of those shows where it just draws you back in. I think it's interesting that you kind of don't dream it, be it kind of Frank yourself, rather than bring it out with the steam and the glitter. I think
Yeah,
being able to traverse all of that in this show, really makes it so special. So what do you
yeah.
think its legacy is going to be? Where does it go from here?
What Rocky Horror Show? I'll be actually. It's a thing that we actually spoke about. A few of us go. Where would you like to go? Go 50 years back to do Rocky Horror Show, or would you like to go 50 years forward? And I can see the show um just keep evolving. Really, we're only just slowly starting to go on to change. With people, with diversity and people actually embracing that and seeing it more often now in the mainstream. And um, it's so current now that this production that I think you just never know what's going to happen with this show, and I think it's always going to have that beacon, that it'll always be out there. This show never sleeps; it always is out. If it's not in the UK, it's in some other country. This production is the original production of the Rocky Horror Show, and it constantly just keeps going. So I'll be really interested to come back in 20 years' time, 25 years' time, and see how it's evolved and everything, and be part of that legacy. There's people that are that tally, and got every single cast member from right from the beginning, and how many shows they've done and everything. And there's it's called the Time Warpers fan page thing, and I'm part of that now. I'm part of that list of people, you know, I suppose that when I settle down and I'm married and I'm old and I've got kids and everything, I go, oh yeah, your dad was Frank-N-Furter. He was playing the transvestite in that role. And I feel, let's just say I've never had so much fun in a job. I've never done a job longer than a year, and I've now gone into my third year of doing it. And there's something about it that I just love. I love the people. I love the people that come and see it. I love the diversity of it and the freedom of it. So yeah, it'll be and also I have fun. At the end of the day, it's not a job to me. I'm enjoying myself. So I'm having fun doing it.
Amazing. I'm sure
Yeah,
we're all trembling with anticipation
yeah.
for you to come to Cardiff.
I've seen your shirts. I've seen your Rocky
Yeah.
Horror shirt. Lovely. Very nice.
I've outed myself there. I've got a little bit extra goth today in celebration.
Lovely.
But really, I'm sure we all can't wait for you to come and play at Cardiff again next month. Stephen, thank you, and
My pleasure.
long may you continue in this role.
Thank you very much. I can't wait to see you all do the time warp with us.
Promises, promises.
Yeah.